Hello everybody, thank you so much for being here. I hope you all are having a good relaxing month. In this video, I want to talk to you about the piece of advice I have heard so many times, and I truly believe that drawing daily is a very good practice. But I also believe that drawing daily is incredibly hard. There are days you don't find a single bit of time to draw, and physically sitting and drawing onto a sketchbook is very overwhelming, and sometimes your head is just like scrambled and there is no idea left in the head. So for those days, I want to share some small ways to make sure you draw daily. And by daily, I mean consistently. So the first small ways to make sure you draw daily or consistently is to choose where you will draw. You can choose loose papers, or better to choose like sketchbooks. I like to use sketchbooks and use them very often in my art practice, because whenever I flip through them I can see my progress, and it's a very good reminder of how much practice I have put into my drawings. So if you like to keep your daily drawings in a sketchbook, next you need to find out which kind of sketchbooks work for you. So in this video, I have divided the sketchbooks into types. So what kind of sketchbooks you like? Do you like this kind of square kind of shape of sketchbooks, or maybe you prefer portrait sketchbooks? I like to use portrait sketchbooks when I'm drawing something like a face or a study of a face. But sometimes when I like to experiment more on compositions and I want to see more compositional elements in my drawings, I like to use these landscape kind of sketchbooks. Now, if you are someone who already have some practice in your belt and you know what kind of sketchbooks work for you, so you will definitely choose that one for your daily drawing practice. But if you're somebody who are still a little bit unsure, I will suggest you to get rid of all of these options and keep one little sketchbook. Make sure to draw in here every single day, or maybe consistently. And since it is small, it is also very useful because it really takes very small effort to fill it up very quickly. Something where I will do a lot of sketches and the drawings are not going to be very finished, so they're just for practice purposes. I always go for the smaller version, and if you go and look, you will see the brands, they always have the smaller versions and they are much more affordable. When you will open it up and the pages, you can see they are very small. So this is very small paper, right? So you can really fill it up very easily. And I like to use these sketchbooks for this kind of studies where I get to do very small things. So whenever I'm opening it up, I can just draw small things and I quickly fill it up, and it's a nice way of keeping daily drawing practices. You can also use this kind of small sketchbook. You can just draw a lot of different things, and quickly you can draw on them because they are small. They will take you less time to fill it up. Where you don't have to spend too much time is good because you can just quickly fill it up and get on with your life. Next up is what kind of tools you will use to draw with. So in order to have a daily drawing practice, you need to choose what kind of materials you will really prefer to improve, you really want to practice these sketches with. Maybe you are using your daily drawing sketchbook because you want to practice ballpoint pen. So you can use these ballpoint pens in your sketchbook and choose these materials. Or maybe you like to use pencils to sketch with, so you can use bunches of pencils. Like, keep these pencils, whatever materials you like, you can just keep your materials handy so you can find them very easily and use it in your daily drawing practice. I have different sketchbooks for different materials. When I like to keep a consistent or daily drawing sketchbook like this, I always try to keep my materials simple, so I try to stick to one or two materials at once. one time. Now it also depends on what kind of artist you are. If you like to experiment with bunch of materials, you love using different materials in your sketchbooks, so you really can do that. But for this video's sake, where our only goal is to keep a consistent sketchbook where we can draw daily or consistently and have a practice, and we want to focus on filling a sketchbook in a consistent basis or a daily basis, I will suggest you to draw with 1 or 2 materials only. I keep these two mechanical pencil because I really enjoy the texture that I can see, and also I want to improve drawing with mechanical pencils. So what I do is I only keep this with mechanical pencils because I want to see the texture, that I really focusing on the drawing aspect and not experimenting with bunch of materials. Choosing this kind of like one materials and sticking to one materials can really focus on my drawings and not think about what material I will use to draw. So I know that I will use my mechanical pencils whenever I'm coming back to this sketchbook, so it just gives me a lot of clarity, and I just have one little less thing to worry about when I'm drawing. Okay, so the next small way to make sure that you draw daily is simply by drawing small. This little tip, I think one of the most important when you want to draw in a regular and a consistent basis, is generally a bit overwhelming when you're drawing on a bigger piece of paper, because it will take you a longer time, and if you're committing to draw a bigger drawing and something which will take you 7 hours or 8 hours, like a big amount of time every single day, it is kind of unattainable. And you can do it some days, but if your schedule looks anything like mine, I know committing to this amount of time daily will be so challenging, and you will quickly burn out or even have any motivation to start drawing. So what I suggest you to do is draw small. So if you're choosing a tiny little sketchbook, it kind of solves a purpose anyway. But when I'm taking this sketchbook, say this is a very big sketchbook, it's not that big, it's an A5, but it's still bigger than the tiny little sketchbook. So when you want to draw something in this bigger surface, I would suggest you to really focusing on one aspect. When I did this older portrait study, I spent almost 2 weeks, and each week sitting for about 2 to 3 hours, and I was losing motivation. I wasn't alone there, I was drawing with a student, but still keeping the motivation going was a real task. Here my intent was to learn to render the various wrinkles and fine lines that we get to see in an older face and in a more naturalistic way. But later when I did these detailed studies where I focused solely on one aspect, and that was just rendering these wrinkles and fine lines, get to understand how to wrinkle them and get the practice going, they were very easy and quick practice. I did these detailed studies much faster, and I understand and get practice to tackle the wrinkles and such details later when I will do another bigger, more finished portrait of an older person. Doing these detailed studies of whatever subjects you want to practice, really easy and quick thing that you can do daily, and it's highly effective for the art journey. I really thought that in this video I will just entirely focus on doing small studies, because I truly believe that these kind of small studies are really good if you want to improve on certain things like technical bit or something. The next small way to make sure that you draw daily, please keeping this sketchbook somewhere you can find. What artists do is they keep their sketchbooks on their desk, so where they will always do their work. This is a very good visual reminder you can set, which will help you to come back to your sketchbook again and again. What I like to do is carry this tiny little sketchbook with me. Whenever I am coming back to my studio from home, I usually carry this tiny one so I can draw it on my lunch break or before going to bed. Next small thing you can make today to see some progress in your daily drawing practice is simply by doing timed sessions. So these timed sessions are generally time constraints drawing sessions. So you will time yourself for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour or something, and just try to draw with that timer on. So whenever you feel like you don't have time today to draw something in your sketchbook, you can just put out like a 15-minute timer from your phone and just try to draw something on that 15 minutes. So it is for those days where you don't feel like you have time. Most of the time when I sit for 15 minutes, I generally make a little bit more progress because I want to draw for more amount of time, but I cannot because I feel like I don't have time. This sketchbook where I have kept last year only 15-minute to 20-minute kind of drawings. I thought of making these kind of simple drawings on days I feel like I don't have time. I started with 15 minutes. I also did the whole sketchbook. I kind of did a tour about this whole sketchbook and talking about this sketchbook, how I kept this sketchbook like a daily drawing challenge kind of a thing, and I kept drawing in it with my ballpoint pen to practice drawing with a permanent ink. So I have done this sketchbook tour very recently. You can go and check the video out. You will see how I'm using this sketchbook to practice. As I said before, these ones I have done with 50-minute timer on. I have kept like a 1 hour timer or something, so it was a timed session for these ones. This one was not, because this one was from class, so we kind of used a lot of time there. Yeah, so timed sessions are really really useful. These ones, however, are also like 10-15 minutes time session with ink from a new challenge that I want to participate the next month. Here I was just focusing on ink. So yeah, timed sessions are really good. So the last tip I want to give you, if you want to draw and have a daily drawing practice, or at least like a consistent practice, is to participate in art challenges. You can see there are a bunch of art challenges out there on Instagram or on YouTube. A month-long art challenge or a weekly basis art challenge that people do. This kind of art challenges with prompts or themes that are already given to you are really good because they will give you some sort of idea to draw. Most of the time when you have a sketchbook with you, let's say I have this sketchbook, I want to draw, and I also want to practice with these mechanical pencils, so I know what I will use and how I will do all those things. But then when you sit back and you see a very blank page, it kind of gives you like the overwhelmed feeling of what to draw. So participating in an art challenge will help you to just get started, because you already know what kind of theme you want to work on. They will already give you the theme, they will give you the prompt, they will also tell you what type of drawings you need to make, so you don't have to worry about what you will draw next, but focus on your drawing practice. So what I like to do is I participate in monthly art challenge, and I've been doing this for over 2 years now. So every month, me and my Patreons, we have these weekly art challenges. They are not monthly, because monthly you have to draw for 30 days, and if you miss one day, it will make you feel terrible. So I always do this weekly art challenges. So each week we have one prompt to work on. We will do some kind of drawings that we know that we will spend a lot of time, like a week-long time to work on. So I know that I already have the 7 days to fill this drawing, and these kind of art challenges are also good because when you go and see that there are a lot of people already making stuff, already making some sort of effort to have a daily or have a drawing practice, it kind of gives me a reminder that I also have to draw. So this is a very good way of building some motivation and also inspiration, because currently I am working on an art challenge where we have this prompt set up, and every now and then I see my Patreons mentioning me on Instagram, doing their stuff and showing their art from the challenge. And it reminds me that yes, there is a prompt out there and there's a challenge out there that I can also work on. And I really enjoy this kind of push when I want to maintain a daily drawing practice. So in the next few days, I will be participating in another challenge where we will draw with ink. So I don't know if I will do the challenge, but if I do, I will try to keep you updated. So these are all the small tips I have for you if you're starting out your daily or consistent drawing practice. And I feel like these are going to make it easy for you to keep that practice going. If you have tried it before and skipped or missed days or weeks or even months, I really encourage you to try keeping a daily drawing practice again. Use the small ways to make your daily drawing practice a little bit more easier for you. By the way, I'm first going to upload this video on my Patreon. Since I'm very new on YouTube, it's really hard for me to share my thoughts in a very cohesive manner. But I truly feel like if you believe in consistent practice and wants to keep a daily drawing practice for yourself, you can surely achieve it.